Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A CloudFoundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
We had a session. Oh, sorry, I gave you an assignment, a short assignment to read more about 2.2. Did you try reading it or getting some insights out of it? Prashant. Like through chat, through Google. I came to know like we have different versions. You're saying now. From version v2.9. Not this one. In that we have an extension of HL7 v2. X is basically it's a security extension. No, HL7 v2 X. X is basically when we are not working on a specific version. Let's say in your organization, you are currently working on version 2.5. Also, you're working on version 2.51. Both of the versions you are using. In that scenario, you won't be specifying both of the versions in like separately. What you will be specifying is, I'm working on HL7 v2X. What I understand, like it's not a subtype, like it's not a version, it's a kind of security pro like message standard. Yes, security extension. Previously HL7 v2 works like it provides some kind of security. Like for that extension, it's over 2.0 is unlike add-on security point. And one thing I'm thinking you're getting confused in HL7 version 2 and over 2.2. They both are different entities. Similarly, HL7 v2 and FHIR, they both are different. At the FHIR and Python, they both are different. Similarly, over 2.0 is totally different entity. I think I miscommunicated. I understand, Prasad, I am getting it, but I have a doubt that what HL7 v2 packs is it a version? It is a HL7 v2 version. Is it a security extension? No, it is not a security extension. Basically, what I said, let's say in your organization, currently you are working on 2.5 and 2.7. Both of the versions are utilized at a single time. In that scenario, if someone asks you which version you're working on, you will not separately tell them because there may be multiple versions you might be working on. Like 2.3, 2.5, 2.7, 2.9, multiple versions you can work on simultaneously. You won't tell them separately that this version I'm working on. What you will do is you will basically add a generic and generic keyword, that is, I'm working on HL7 v2X. Got it? They will understand that basically you are working on not a specific version, but you're working on multiple versions. And what I came to know from over 2.0 is a security protocol extension. It gives end-to-end encryption, like when the data is transmitted. It gets protected from unauthorized access, like it uses the multi-factor authentication and it uses passwords tokens. We also have the access control with this security protocol, like only particular doctor can get access to the HL7 v2 message and particular nurse. who can read the message, and who can send the message, who can send the message and also have digital signatures in this. Authentication code. Deal with the digital signatures and message authentication codes. The not to tamper the data. Yes, exactly. And we have other candies. I don't understand what it is. I think it's a tool. Checksum like it. It helps in like if what the data we received, what is sent from some particular system. Checksum is basically you're verifying what the sender is sending. And also the verifier will be verifying what you will be sending. That is a checksum that is stored in a hash value basically. Other understand is audit trails like audit login, like when you log in there, where at what time you log in and on what you're doing with the data, like have you made any changes in that message. They're making that kind of protection with audit trails. And there we know is HTTP protocol. Like for all of the systems, we are using HTTP protection to protect the data. Yes, you got most of it correct. To visualize things, let me show you how basically what to protocol works. Not exactly end to end, but you can see this is a token endpoint. Or to open or to dot protocol basically acts on token endpoint. And one more is our 1 second. We can check it here real quick. There's a metadata for it. Authorize endpoint. And one is the token endpoint. You can see both of these are using to dot or to in the URL you can see. You're able to see my Postman screen first. Basically or to dot protocol, we can see mechanism. What did is the protocol for the security measures. At each and every time, at each and every stage of your data retrieval or let's say data creation, anything related to data or your account will be verified first. Let's say if I have a EHR, Epic EHR, and I'm trying to access a patient information. To access that patient information, what the first thing will be verified is my authorization and my authentication. Once I have the data again, it will be verified that I have the permissions to see the data or not again. Once I have the permission to see the data, let's say if I'm going to download that data in a PDF file, then again it will be checked like if I have the permissions to download the data, etc., etc. To do all of the things, a token is generated in the form of a JWT. JSON Web Tokens. This is how a token looks like, access token. You are able to see. If I decode this a token, now at here, let me present you a window. That access token is basically an encrypted one. Let's say if someone other than me got this access token. With the help of this access token, he can access the resources which I am authorized to. Getting my point? With this access token, with just this string, he can access. He can access anything which I have access to. Or maybe anything which I have the scope for accessing. These are all the scopes for this token that I can access this and this resources. This is how powerful an access token is. And if you see everything, 1 second GBTO. If I paste this access token here, can you see each and every data was encrypted, and on the hand side you can see the decoded values. In the header of this token, I have the type that is the JABOT token. It is JABOT token, and the algorithm which I'm using now to encrypt this token is RS256. And this is the body of my token. This is my client ID. This is my epic ECA. And this is all the metadata. This is when the token will be expiring. And some more information regarding the tokens and all. And this is the verify signature. A token, this JBOT token on the hand side, on the left hand side you're seeing, is encrypted with all this data. With all this data, once this token is generated, I can get access to anything which I have access to basically. This is how basically the over 2.0 protocol works. The token generation works. Over 2.0 protocol basically generates token for us. And with the help of those tokens, we access the resources which we want to access and we have access to. Getting my point? Now you might be wondering that if this token is this powerful, why I'm showing you this now? You can just copy paste this token and use it anywhere and get the data. This is not the case. This is an expired one. Every token comes with an expiry time. It expires in 37 seconds. This is seconds. It constitutes to around 1 hour maybe. I'm not sure. This has already been expired and I was just showing you the token. By decoding the token, you get all this information and all. This is how over 2.2 protocol works by generating the tokens. Getting my point? Good that you read about over 2.0. At least you got an understanding now. Read more about it. If you find it more difficult or something, some part is you're not getting properly, maybe. Read more about it and we can bring some doubts to me. But got the point. HL7 V2 and over 2 are totally different entities. Like we don't have another type of like a security extension other than over 2.2. There are many not only limited to over 2.2. Let me show you. If you go to authorization, you see all of these protocols here. That is basic authorization in which we do ID and our password. We have bearer token where we put the generated access token we generated now. We put it here and then we can access the resources. There's JABOT bearer, there's digest auth, auth1, auth2 auth, ABOS signature. There are many types of authentication. What is the refresh token? Refresh token. Refresh token. Refresh token. Let's say you are working in a production environment and your access token is expired. It expires in every 366 seconds. Next time, whenever you want to access a resource, you need to generate a new access token which is not feasible. Every time someone cannot go and generate a token after 1 hour. What we do is we get the refresh token. With the help of refresh token, a token is already like access token is refreshed again automatically. That is where our refresh token is used. Getting my point understood. Here, if you see in this response, in this JSON response, I have access token. I have token type, I have expires in, I have scope. If I would have requested one more thing, that is the refresh token. It should be presented in my response, but as that is not needed for me, the refresh token, I did not request it for it. Might be having that refresh token somewhere around. Let me see. I think I never requested for this refresh token. No, I do not request a refresh token because that was not my use case. But do you get it? Why refresh token is used? Basically, let's say if this every token has an expiry time, this token expires in 39 seconds. Every time I cannot go and generate a new token, I will use refresh token to generate a new token. I will just use the refresh token to refresh my previous token. You go to the Chrome also, and every time you refresh the page, you get the data. When we use this multi-factor application, every time there is a password will be generated in our device. Is it the same which is used for refresh token? No, not the same. There are. You know that is also over 0.0, but in over 2.0, there are two types of, let's say, verification. One is by using the client ID and secret that is for developers. And one is the screen which you see, the pop-up consent screen. Basically, that is called that verification that is for users. We developers have a backend access to, like the client ID and secret. We directly use that thing to generate an access token. We do not get the consent, pop-up and all. Maybe read more about it once. You will get the idea. What refresh token is what? Access token is what? What are all these parameters? What scope is? Scope defines the scope for this access token basically. See, if I'm having a system/start_read, scope the privilege, I'm having now a system/star.read. That means I can read each and every resources. There are different scopes available, that is system/star.write system, system/start or delete. Currently, the scope of this access token is only read. I can only read the data. I cannot write the data or I cannot delete the data. Any confusion or doubt in this place? .read is for the users. No. That is not for the users. That is for the resources. I can show you that real quick. If you see here, system/star.read. Keep that in mind. I will show you a different access token. You see, we have a system/account.read adverse event.read. If I do not want to give all of these scopes, but I want all of the scopes, what I can do in short is basically I can include a star. It will imply that basically I want each and every resources. Got it? Any confusion or doubt in this now? That is great. I will show you basically what the Bot 2.0 is. when we will work on a project, but before that, give it a read. At least you can know what is going on or 2.0 or 2.2. Then let's start with our remaining session for HL7V2. We will start with basically HL7V2 versions. We will look at what HL7V2 versions do and why there is a need for new versions. We will go through an overview of different versions. And also we will go through the key differences between versions. Why there is a need for new versions. Why? Why do we created this many versions and why is there only version still from version 2.1 to version 2.9? We will go through all of this. Basically HL7V2, when it was discovered earlier, the first initial version, it was version 2.1. Basically in 2.1, they introduced only the basic ADT support. For now, you might not be knowing what ADT is. Just for your information, ADT is Admit, Discharge and Transfer Support. The short form for ADT is Admit, Discharge and Transfer. Earlier in the initial stages, when HL7 version 2 was introduced, and in that also version 2.1 is introduced. At that time, HL7V2 only supported Admit, Discharge and Transfer messages. Let's say, if you are a patient, you are getting admitted to a hospital or a clinic. Only the admit message will be triggered. If you are discharged, the discharge message will be triggered. If you are transferred to another specialist hospital, that message will be triggered. The use cases of version 2.1 was limited to patient movement tracking. When patient entered, when was he discharged? When was he transferred? That was. Let me correct myself here. A new feature was added in version 2.1. The support for the basic messages, that is, the order message or let's say a financial message, that was already there. But a new feature was added in version 2.1 and it was released for public use. In that they introduced the patient movement tracking feature. That is basically the ADT messages admit, discharge and transfer messages. Then later on, when the time passed by, there were new things introduced. Radiology pharmacy segments. More of the medicines were introduced. More of the viruses were also introduced. There was a need for a newer version. That is the version 2.3. After 2.1, they skipped 0.2. They directly jumped on 2.3. Basically, what the intention was, basically to eliminate the even versions and only go with the odd versions. If you see there is no 2.2, there is no 2.4, there is no 2.6, there is no 2.8. The intention of H7V2 was basically to eliminate the the even version and go ahead with the odd versions. When HL7 version 2 was initially released. In version 2.1, they introduced the basic ADT support. That was used for patient movement tracking. And then later on, new radiology and pharmacy segments were introduced. There was a need for HL7V2 3. 2.3 after, like a special consideration, they included a new segment, that is the radiology and pharmacy segment. That can be useful for triggering your radiology and pharmacy data messages, such as your lab report, your pharmacy details, your imaging workflows, etc. In imaging, basically we have X-ray images, we have sonography images. etc., etc. In lab reports, we have blood pressure reports, we have urine report, we have blood report, etc. This feature was introduced in v2.3. Then again in version 2.1 and 2.3, there was no security considerations followed. There was no good security feature that can secure these messages. And at that time, when HL7 2.1 and 2.3 were released, at that time, the hackers and the people which can basically misuse these messages, they were very low. But as the technology enhanced, as the technology advanced, there were always a security risk with those messages. They can be accessed by like any hacker or something. There were no good enough security protocol that was securing the patient's data. That was also considered. And in v2.5, some security and digital signatures were introduced. The use case of this version was to secure message exchanges that the people which do not have access to the HL7 v2.1 messages do not access the messages basically when they are transmitting. Or let's say when they are exchanging between different systems. This was a major release. This 2.5 was a major release. Soon after that there might be an outbreak, a virus outbreak or something at that time. A newer version. They have to release immediately and they basically patched. They released a patch version. If you see the version, if you see how to decode a version, we have the version 2.3. 2 means the major version. 3 means the minor version. And here one more element is added. That is the patch. That means a smaller version. We can consider it as a more smaller version. Soon after the version 2.5, which included our security considerations, 2.51 was released. New features added in. This was public health data. The use case of this version was basically there might be a virus outbreak or something which HL7 2.1 messages were not capable of transmitting. Soon after that they released the version 2.51 and they introduced the public health data segment. And in that basically we can put up the immunization registries. We can also put up the outbreak reporting, etc., etc. Then the new data basically. Getting my point? And then once this all things are done, there was another version released, that is the version 2.7. Version 2.7 was also a major one, revolutionary one, because in this they integrated the wearable device. Like as I said earlier, the clinics, the practice and the providers were using the HL7 to get it triggered from their own machines, like blood pressure machine which they were having, like X-ray machines which they were having, etc., etc. This 2.7 version benefited in basically triggering an HL7 2.1 message from your wearable device such as your iWatch, such as your smartwatch, etc. Your Fitband. HL7 2 message was integrated with these wearable devices and then they can directly trigger the HL7 2 message to your practitioner. In short, to your doctor. This was a major version. And this was a revolutionary version as well, because as technology was enhancing, they introduced this enhanced version of a HL7 2.7. Now there was always a need for a newer version because data is emerging day by day. They cannot release more of the patch versions because diseases were emerging. New medicines were found. People were getting new viruses, etc., etc. What they decided to shut down HL7 by the last version, that is the version 2.9. And at this point, when version 2.7 was introduced, at that time, only FHIR was being announced. When 2.9 was introduced, basically the new features which were added in version 2.9 was FHIR integration and modernized fields. As HHIR was introduced, what version 2.9 supported was basically the FHIR integration with HL7 V2 messages. That was only a transitioning phase for HL7 V2, the last version as well, HL7 V2.9, which was a transition phase. That this version can like. Basically, when this version is introduced, the transition from HL7 V2 to FHIR, the interoperability between both of the system improved drastically. And the main motive of the last version, the version 2.9, was this only to improve the interoperability between the FHIR system and HL7 V2. Getting my point? You're saying it's a patch. That was a patch. It's not a complete set of version. It is a set of version. It will be considered a version only. But let's say, how can I explain it? Let's say you're going to a shop. On 1st of every month, you're going to a shop. You're bringing some groceries in bulk. You brought the groceries in bulk, and in that month itself, let's say you needed some other thing, that is a rice flour, which you do not include it in the groceries. You just went to the grocery store and bought the rice flour. Add-on thing. That you can consider it like that, only the add-on thing. A smaller version. Because you know what? This is not a major deal-breaking thing. They did not add it a major support or let's say major feature. That if that was a good feature, a good enough feature impacting many of the people, then they might have released it as a 2.7 or a bigger version. But this was on a public demand. At that time, maybe this might happen that at let's say if HL7 version 2 is already used worldwide. In some part of Argentina, there might be a virus outbreak and Argentina people demanded that we need a version which can handle this outbreak. Not the whole world is needing that, only Argentina people is needing that. To release that version on demand of those people, they released it as 2.5.1. It might. The benefit of this is basically the whole world can use this 2.51 version. But this was an on-demand version, only needed for the Argentina people. This is just an example. No. This is not from Argentina people. This was an example I gave. Let's see the whole world is using and only a state or country demanded this version. They released it on demand. And they released it worldwide. Everyone can use it. That does not impact many parts of the world. But yes, they can use this. They can still use this version. No, this is not a pre-release. This is the actual release version. No, I'm not thinking is it a B resource. So, it is also asking like, is it a free resource? Which I like all the versions. I just haven't pinged to is basically free resource, only FHIRs. FHIR is also a free resource only. But the thing is, these are all standards. Getting my point? These are all standards. Let's say if RAM is using HL7 version 2 and Charan is using FHIR. They both are following basically the standards. This is HL7 and FHIR. Both are non-profit organization and free to use. But to store the information, RAM is using HL7 version 2 and to store the version 2 information, he's using some database or let's say some system he's using to store the patient data securely. And he is maintaining that server as well. To maintain the server, RAM is charging something. RAM opened his own organization. And he is charging for that data. Getting my point? Similar cases. Case with FHIR. FHIR is a standard. We will be implementing FHIR. But the FHIR server which we will be using, that will be paid. For example, let's say you have been allotted a lot. You have been allotted a land to build a construction. Now the land is free. You haven't allotted it. But to build you need the concrete. You need the machinery. You need the support. For that you will be paid. The database. For example, government allotted you a land. Free to use land. Now, this added that this is my land. You use it. But to use that land, you have to basically enhance that land. Do you have to build a construction? You have to do something on that land. Implement something on that land. That will be paid. Resources free and the futures are paid. No, not like this. Let's say government introduced this HL7 V2. The main motive of introducing HL7 V2 was all of the hospitals and systems follow a similar standard for data exchanging. There might be no confusion between them. Yes, now to mean like some hospitals were using a different version and some hospitals were using different format. As I told first name, last name and one hospital was using full name. Now that hospital, which was using full name to comply with HL7 V2 because this is a government order. They must comply with HL7 version 2 when it was released. They might require a tech team to basically change all of their formats and comply with HL7 version 2. Let's say I opened an organization. And in my organization, let's say there are you people, Ram and Charan, which will be handling the conversion of that hospital. Basically, we will be providing support for that hospital that give it to us. We will do all the things for you. We will make you HL7 V2 compliant and for our services we will get paid. Got my point? HL7 V2 is a standard which government has decided that everyone will use. But to use that standard, the transformations needed, to do that transformation, there will be people needed which are having the information of HL7 V2. Getting my point now? Are you clear? Are you clear with this actual V2 versions? Now there's a V2 message structure. Again, this is a bigger topic. Do we want to cover it today? I think I want to be your. Message and the standard. Let's cover it then quickly. All I just have in V2 message structure is basically this message you are seeing here on my screen, yes. And at the last bullet point, this is how HL7 V2 message looks like. There are basically segments. Let me annotate it quickly. This thing and this thing, they both are called segments. Wherever you see this line, these are called segments. Let me share you one more screen. You. This, here you are seeing my Python screen. This is HL7 V2 message. This is how HL7 V2 message looks like. This thing MCCV and PID and K1. If you see the message like this, we have the message in a whole string. To just make things visible for you, I assigned it into a new variable. This is if you remove this assignment, if you see all of this, this will be considered in a single string. And this is how HL7 V2 message will look like. HL7 V2 message is divided into segments. The first thing is the segmentation. Every segment will start with a 3-letter encoded, basically. This is the NSH, that is the message header. This is EVN, that is the event notification. This is PID, the patient identification. In K is next of kin. PV1 is patient visit. Each segment, basically, is recognized with the first 3 characters of the segment. And now coming back to the slide, you're able to see the slide. Once it. If you see this message, H7V2 message, you might be. Can you tell me how many segments are there now in this message? Yes, exactly. There are 2 segments present. That is, one is the message header and one is the PID. Now let's decode this message. Let's try to decode this message. You are seeing many things. That is a caret symbol, a swirly symbol, a backslash symbol, and let's debug this. Let's understand first the component of this HL7V2 message. The major component. There are 4 major components of HL7V2 message. First is the segment. And segment is considered by these lines. And every segment will start with 3 alphabets. These 2 are the segments. This is how HL7V2 message will be decoded. Now we are decoding the HL7V2 message. We are understanding what all things are there in the message. First, we will bifurcate this message with the help of segment. We have two segments here. Now we will let's grab this first segment now. Let's understand the first segment. This one. Now there will be fields within a segment, and that fields will be denoted by a pipe delimiter. You see this pipe delimiter here. And you see this pipe delimiter also here. Every time you see a pipe delimiter, a new field will start. This is a new field. This is also a new field. In between pipes, the data we have. Yes, that is called a field. If we start again, we have two segments, and within a segment we have different fields. And every field has their own identity and will store its own data. Let's say if this is the first field, this is the second field, this is the third field. Can you count the fields for me in the first segment? How many fields do we have? Can you count it, guys? 9 fields. Can you count again once more? Let's count it now. I'm underlining this field for now. Can you count it wherever I marked it? This one. Sorry, I think this is not good. Can you count now? How many fields do we have? 11 fields. Yes, exactly. As I said, every field has its own identity and store its own data. If let's say in this we said that the first field in message segment, it will consider the escape sequence characters. Basically, the characters which we will be using in our messages will be defined in first segment. The second field will store the information of our sending application. Who is sending this message? The third field, it will store information about our sending facility, from which facility we are getting this message. The fourth field we will have is, in the fourth field, we will have data regarding our receiving application. In the fifth field, we have data regarding our receiving facility. In the sixth field, let's say we have the date data. It was triggered on 11/2024. Seventh field, we do not have any data for now. We will leave it empty. Empty is also considered as a field. Yes, definitely, because this data which is going to be stored on this field, we do not have it. And this all of the fields which we store in, like the data, I will show you a website. Let me show you a website quickly, where we will find all the field data where we are storing the field. Yes, is it visible to Chrome? This is the HL7 definition characteristics website. In this, basically, we will search for our segment. Let's say we are dealing with MSH. This is a message header segment and this is the field identity. If you see in the first field MSH.1, this is the first field we have field separator. Field separator by field separator. What I mean is basically this one. Whichever we will be using in our messages to separate the messages, we are defining it in the first field. Getting my point? Second field is defined for encoding. Sorry, this the first. Somewhere this is also considered as a field. And in some places we start our field from this one. If this website is considering ncc.1 as this one, let's count it again. The fields. Can you count again the fields? For me, it's 12. Each and every field has its own data. Let's say on first field we are storing the field separator. In second field, we are storing the encoding characters which we will be using in our this message passing. This one encoding character. The third field you see the sending application. We are storing the sending application. Getting my point? The fourth field is sending facility. The fourth field is sending facility. Here also. Fifth field is receiving application. That space for receiving application. Sixth field is receiving facility. This is a receiving facility here. Then seventh field we have date and date or time of message. This date and time of message is present here. And then here eighth field is for security. If you can see eighth field security data was empty. We kept the field empty. Let's say if some of the fields data you are not having. You should keep that field empty. This whole field protocol is like same. Is it fixed every time? Yes, it is fixed every time. It will not change at any point of time. 4. Say you need to take sending app from which app you are sending. It should be in third field. Yes, exactly. Every time, each and every message you will be receiving from any facility in the world which is using HL7 MV2 structure will be storing the sending application data in third field only. Or let's say if they are using some other format, they are starting this field from the first field, from this one. They will inform you priorly that we are starting our first field from this thing. But the general guideline is to start from here. The first field will start from this message character. Getting my point? Eighth field, we have security which is empty. Here would not have. Now ninth field is an important one. That is the message type. Message type. You can see this is the ADT message, a detailer. That means by looking at the ninth field, you can see which type of message is triggered. This is the admit, discharge and transfer message. In that also we are separating the message with the caret symbol. ADT is a general one. In ADT, which message is triggered? Let's say L1. If I search for ADT here, you can see L1 is for admit or visit notification. That means this message is triggered for admission process. Admission of a patient. Getting my point? These are also fixed. Yes, these are also fixed. If you see here, these are also fixed. One from ADT L1 to A62. We have all of the types. Whenever they give A60 or A54, we need to understand the type. Yes, by looking at the ninth field, you will know what type of message it is. Basically, if you see ADTA01, you will just go to the website. You cannot remember all of this data. You can never remember this until and unless you are a superhuman. You cannot remember the fields. What you will do is basically, you will do smart work. You will just go to this website. You will search for which type of message it is. We search for ADT. Let's say you want to know the field which for now here. You can see we have the placeholder here, but in this PyCharm, let me show you the PyCharm real quick. You are able to see my PyCharm. In this message header, you are having GHHADT. And if you see, this is on first, second and third field. That is the name. Now you want to know what is this. What you will do is you will go to the website. You will type for a message. This is the message header. You will open that. You will see the field. The third field is the sending application name. Getting my point to the sending application name. Now you want to know in this sending application, in this message header, the type of the message. What you will do is, you will see that this is first is ADT. The first thing which I will do is I will go to the website. I will type for ADT. ATT. Now this all options popped up in front of me. Now to bifurcate it more, what I will do is ADTAL1. I will check which type of message it is. AD. I will open this ATL1. It will show me that ADT01 is admit a visit notification. Getting my point. This is ADT01 message. How we are basically bifurcating the message, how we are decoding the message. Now let's say we have a different segment, PID segment. That is the patient identification. In this patient identification, we have this name. This field is storing our name data. For now, we can just look at the data and we can understand. This is the name only. Let's go to the PID segment. Patient identification. In this we have PID 5, that is if you count 5, field 1, 3, 4, 5 and then we have 6 field. That is mother's and maiden name. Sorry, the mother's and maiden name is stored in the 6th field. If you see within this field also PID 6.1, we have family name. If you see PID 6.1 is this one. Getting my point. This is the 6th field 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and this is the 6th one. In 6th one, if we go to the 6th one, we have mother's or maiden name stored there. If you open 6th field, we have different segments now. To bifurcate the message again. Coming back to the message. First, the message is bifurcated on the basis of segment. These are 2 segments. Then again, a segment is bifurcated on the basis of field. These are the field. Again, a field is bifurcated on the basis of this subcomponents, components and subcomponents. This is one component of a field and this will be second component of a field and the components are separated by a caret symbol. Getting my point? Similarly, which we have like the field data is fixed. Similarly, we have the component data also fixed. If you see, we have this field here. We have this field here. And this has some components inside of it. We don't know what these components are. We will directly go to the website. Let me clear this one notation. We will go to this website. We see that the first component is this one. The second component is this one. The third component is this one. Let's say there are some empty components as well. Where is this cap symbol? Here, and we have some data. Can you count the components for me within this field? No, count it again. Five components. Yes, exactly. There are basically 5 components in this field. Exact. 5 components. Let me again undo this thing. If you see now, can you count the component? How many components are there? 2, 3. There are 3 components and there is no empty component between them. First component will be this one. It will be placed at 6.1. Family name. 6.1 contains family name. We get that every man is their family name. If we see 6.2, then this is a given name. Given name can also be called as first name. We have Adam as a first name, and if you see 6.3, that is the second and further names, or let's say initials. Getting my point? This is the initials. Basically, the name it will constitute like a Adam Everman. Let's say we have some prefix data also. Some people have suffix, some people have prefix. Getting my point? Let's see if we have a prefix data. Also, how do you think we can include the prefix data doctor? Let's say we want to include the doctor. Can you tell me how can I include it? This is on this prefix will be stored on fifth component. Can you tell me how will I store the doctor? Yes, you are Charan. We will basically add a new field, a new component. Now, if you count the component here. First component, second component, third component, fourth and then fifth component. And doctor is a prefix which is stored on fifth component. The fourth, the suffix component, we do not have that. We will leave an empty space for it because each and every field, each and every component, even the subcomponent have their own fixed place. If we do not have the data for, let's say, a field or component, we will leave that space empty until unless we have the data after that component. Let's say if we do not have the prefix or suffix. Also, what is the suffix? I guess prefix. Let's say we do not have the prefix. Also, what we will do? We will end that field here only. We will not include empty data for anything, but as we had a data at the end, we included an empty space for each and every segment, each and every subcomponent we had in between. Getting my point, Ram Charan? Yes, Prashant. We will not store any information on any other fields. Other fields place. Let's say if I'm given a place 1, Ram is given a place 2 and Charan is given a place 3 and only Charan is present in the class. It is mandatory for Charan to go and sit on place 3 only. He will not be utilizing my or Ram's place. Let's say if someone is calling you. Let's say if someone is calling you like your principal called Charan. Principal basically instructed the Payan to call Charan. Payan find that Charan's allotted place is 3. What he will do? He will directly go to the class. He will go to the 3rd place and find Charan there. Simple enough. This is the procedure we are following here also. We have assigned the place for each and every data and we will keep that data at that place only. We will not be utilizing any other space. Clear enough? Yes. Now do you get it? Why pipe delimiters are used? Basically, pipe delimiters are used to separate the fields. And the caret symbol is used to separate the component. And let's say within a component we have something other data, then we will be using the A and D symbol. A subcomponent type. Let's say we have some repetition data. We will be using a swirly symbol. Let's say we have a name repeated. We will be using a swirly symbol. Getting my point? These are basically the key segments of HL7 V2 message. The first segment will always be a message header. Without this segment, the HL7 V2 message will be not treated as a V2 message if that segment is not present. Each and every time. If you will see a message header, you will see that your HL7 V2 message is starting from there. If let's say in that message, if I do not include this header message, it will not be treated as a message at all. It will be discarded. And the sequence after this MCC segment can always change. That is not fixed, but just for only a message, it is fixed. Getting my point? Yes, consider it like this, that ns is the principal. And rest of the other fields are the student. Student can sit at any place. But principal will only sit at its own designated place. And without principal's presence, the school will not be starting. A message is the principal. Without MSH header, HL7 V2 message will not be treated as a message and it will be discarded. These are some of the segments. A message implies message header which contains some basic information of the sending facility, sending application, receiving facility. Some data when this was triggered, date, time. And this other segment, that is the PID segment, that will contain the patient identification. The patient data in short. Then there's other section, segment OBR, that is observation request. Then there's OBX, that is observation or result message. Event, an event type detail will be stored in EVN message. And kin is next of kin. Next of kin is basically the first person, the next person which will be contacted after patient. Caregiver. Karshan, does every HH7 message consist of all these key segments? No. It is not mandatory for every HL7 message to have these key segments. Only one is mandatory, that is the message 8. And it will always be at the starting of the message. The first segment, we can say that an HL7 V2 message can contain n number of segments. N number of segments means it can only contain one also. It can contain 1000 also. Getting my point? These are major segments. Kind of the most used segments. There are other segments also. Yes, definitely. There are other segments and this goes like this. There are dead 80, we have OO, OM, VXU, DF, TM, DM, STU. There are other messages as well. And some of the messages be common for every version. Yes, the message will be common. These 3 characters which you are seeing here, it will be common for every version. Every version will use only this specified segment type, segment name. If other versions are changing, there will be new segments also added for that. Yes, let's say for an example in this version 2.1, we added the basic ADT support. New segment was added which was ADT segment. This one message type was ADT which is added. Similarly, getting my point? Yes, basically these are the key segments which are the most used segments. We can say which you should remember always. And there are some commonly used other ones as well. That is ADT, OOU, ORM, VXU. You should not remember all of them, but you should be. You should know that this also exists. Let's say you are not dealing with financial things. There is no need for you to go in depth of the DFT. That is the detailed financial transaction. What you will be using is this segment only. But if you are dealing with financial things or let's say order management, then you will be dealing with the most common segment. The key segments for you will be DFT, ORAM, OU. Getting my point? It basically depends on the use case from person to person. If you are in a finance department, this message will be the key segments for you, DFT, ORU. Let's say if you are not in finance segment, you are in transition phase or something doing some other work. This messages will be the key segments for you. Getting my point? Yes, I hope we are like, I hope you are not basically into the financial things. That is why I kept this message type into the commonly used one, not the key segment. What we will be going depth into the key segment one, which will be the most used for us. But at the same time, we should be aware that this message types also exist. For sure. Getting my point? Yes, there are some other message types as well. That is ACK, that is acknowledgement, message bire RRD omna ECR. Acknowledgement. This message, basically the other messages, why I kept in the other section. We can send it if we want. We cannot. And if we don't want, we cannot. We should not send it basically. It depends on our will. If we talk about this ACK, that is the acknowledgement message. Let's say your facility is sending me a message. And that message is never reaching to me. Getting my point? It is never reaching to me. How would you know that the message which you triggered is not reaching to me. What I will do is, while sending the original message me, the sending facility will send two messages. Basically, one is the original message which will contain all the details. And second is the acknowledgement message that I sent you, the message. Let's say if the first message, the original message, gets misplaced in between and only acknowledgement message reached to you. You will acknowledge me back again that I have not received the original message. Only I have received the acknowledgement message. I will know that this message is missing. I will again trigger the message. Getting my point? And let's say I am the sending facility. You are the receiving facility. I'm sending the original message with all the data and you are not acknowledging me that you have received it. What I will be thinking is that message might not have been reached properly. I will send that message again and again and again and flood you with that message. It will be better to basically send me an acknowledgement message that yes, I have received your message. And when I receive your acknowledgement message, I will stop triggering that message again. Getting my point? This is how the message type works basically in H7v2. Yes, basically we can cover this. Moving ahead to the passing of H7v2 message. We already saw the passing. The passing is also whenever the message is split into segments. We use the /r character. I will show you one thing. If you see this PyCharm, are you able to see my PyCharm? Yes, Prashant. Wherever you see this /r character at the end of the segment, this will be considered as the segment end. Similarly, when you will see the pipe delimiter, you will know that a field will be starting. A field will be starting. When you will see a caret symbol, you will know that a component will be starting. Similarly, when you will see a /r character, you will know that the segment is ending and a new segment might be starting, or even if not starting, we will know that the segment is ending. Basically, like here. Getting my point? /r denotes the segment end. Split segments into fields. The field is already separated with the pipe delimiter. We are splitting the fill fields into components with the help of caret symbol. Getting my point? Yes. These are some of the keynotes while working with HL7 v2 message. The first is as I told, every HL7 message specifies NCH as its first segment. You can note these key points as well or take a screenshot maybe if you want. But these are the important ones while working with H7v2 message. Without NCH header, the first bullet point, what it conveys is without a message header, the HL7 message will not be treated as H7 the v2 message. It will be discarded. Getting my point? And the second is the name of segment is always 3-character long. Every segment will start with 3-character long, 3-character long name such as MSH, PLID, NK1, PV1. Getting my point? The PID segment contains patient demographic information. The PID segment always will contain the patient demographic information. Similarly, the NK1 segment will contain the information of patient's next of kin and patient's next of kin. You get it? What next of kin is? Who the practice, or let's say who the hospital, will be contacting the next person after the patient. Getting my point? Let's say if Ram is getting admitted into hospital and Charan is the next person who will be contacted after if Ram is unreachable. Charan will NK1. Similarly, there will be NK2. Yes, exactly. Similarly, there can be many people. If many people are there, we will segment those NK1, NK2, NK3, NK4. PV1 is basically the patient visit segment. It will contain the information about the patient's visit. If patient is visiting the first time, it will be triggered as PV1. If it is visiting second time, it will be triggered as PV2 or PV3. Yes, Prashant. This is how basically if you see that, why I showed you this. Because you might be thinking that in the second bullet point, the name of the segment is always 3 character long. And Prashant, you are telling me that SH, PID are all characters. Then why we encountered this NK1? This is why the NK1 denotes next of kin 1, next of kin 2, next of kin 3. Getting my point? And let's say if there is a next of kin 11, we will write that as 11 only. That will be also considered at 3 characters only because 11 is a singular entity and is a singular one and K is a singular one. Getting my point? Prashant, after message we can add any of the segments. Yes, definitely. Yes, there is no sequence for it. You can add any of the message. But message is only the fixed one. Only ends is fixed. Rest you can include any in it like any sequence basically. Any confusion or doubt in this, guys? Now, do you know how to basically decode the message? Let's try decoding a message. Now, can you tell me which message is which type of message is this? It is basically ADT. Yes, it is ADT message. But in ADT, what type of message is this? I'm sharing a link. Can you go to this website and search it for me? Can you open this website and search it for me? Which type of message is this? Register a patient. Yes, exactly. Once again, I'm sharing a file also. Can you try downloading this script? Just download and keep it for now. I will tell you what to do with it later on. Now coming back to the decoding of a simple message. Now you know that ADTLO4 is basically what type of message? Can you tell me again what type of message this is? Register a patient in admission. Now, can you tell me? Let me open that in my system as well. Can you tell me what is the version ID of this message? Which H7 version it is using? Yes, exactly. And where do I get it? Basically, if I see the version ID that is in the 12th segment, it is basically the version identifier. It will show me that which version of HL7 message this message belongs to. Can you, by looking at this message up front, can you decode it now? Is there any confusion or doubts you are having? We will try with every segment. Then we'll come to find any difficulty. You might be wondering why this swirly keyword is here. We never learned about this swirly keyword. As I said, if you see in this slide, this swirly keyword is basically a repetition separator. It implies that basically the value can be this one or can be this one. The value is repeated. Let's say for a single field you have two values. How you are going to store that values? Because if you will use a different field separator, it will be counted as a new field. But let's say for a single field you have two values. How are you going to store that value? You will use a repetition separator. Getting my point? I shared you a script also. H7 What this script is doing? We are having a H7 message, that is this one. We are extracting the data out of this HL7 message. And we are creating a patient resource out of it. If you see, this is a patient resource. FHIR patient resource. Resource type is patient. Try to run the script and understand it. If you face any difficulty in that script, we will discuss on that one. And if you are able to successfully understand the script and also get the data out of it, you are able to see to get all of the insights out of it. Try with different messages. Try with different H7 messages. If you change the H7 messages, again come back here. If you change this V2 message, you need to change the JSON as well. The JSON structure. If you are not able to do that for now, that's fine. When we will learn more about H7 FHIR, you will understand about the structure of it. That's fine. First, try to run this script which I gave you, the original script. That will be good enough for now. Are we good with H7 Do we have any doubts in this for this current session or something? We had a good understanding on this. Yes, both of you? Ramcharan, both of you. Yes, Prashant. Great. That is good hearing. This is some of the helpful resources, the Chilchamal original website, the tool which I gave you, the characteristics website. I think we are good for this session. We covered H7 today. Let's start with our next session from Saturday. That is a FHIR. We will now go deep inside H7 FHIR. Now we are good with HL7. What HL7 is? H7 is we are also good with cellular V2. Now we will learn about HL7 FHIR. And when we will be done with HL7 FHIR, we will learn about how we are going to transform H7 V2 to FHIR, or let's say from FHIR to V2. Read all of the things which I'm seeing you and do all of the things which I'm giving you as an assignment. That will be good enough. And if you have any doubt or something, bring it to me on Saturday. If you have like small doubt also, and if you can watch our recording and clear it out, that it will be also good enough. Or else do not hesitate to ask me on Saturday. We will clear all of your doubts. And try to run the script which I gave you. That will be basically getting the data from A7 7v2 message and putting it into FHIR. That is a simple script. Just to let you know about the workflow, how it is going on. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.